Hi friends, fellows, and everyone experiencing mild existential dread. Welcome back to What Are You Jamming? I'm your host, Chris Owen. The concept here is simple. I talk to musicians about where they've been going, what they're creating now, what's inspired them, and I end every podcast with the question, what are you jamming? This episode I hang out with Bryan Funck, the vocalist for Thou, a band that sounds like a building collapsing in slow motion, but operates with pure punk logic. Bryan fully identifies Thou as a punk band. Once you know how they function, DIY everything, no bullshit, vibes first decision making, all just makes sense. We get to New Orleans, the charm and the chaos of living there, and the very believable possibility that Bryan will one day flee society from a required life far away from Mardi Gras traffic. We talk about songwriting, community, Thou's punkist process, philosophy, sisters in Christ, and we touch performing live because the relationship with the stage is complicated in a way that makes you nod and go, yeah, I get it. It's thoughtful, it's fun, it's got that punk guy accidentally became wise energy. Alright, before we jump in, track you're hearing is Emotional Terrorist from Thou's newest record, Umbilical. Absolute fucking heater. Fair warning, audio gets rough in points, but it's still a great listen. Let's get into it. Hi Bryan, can you all go ahead and introduce yourself to people who are listening?
Sure, I'm Bryan from Thou and Sisters in Christ Records.
So, how's New Orleans treating you lately? Do you like living there? I mean, you guys started in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Well, I'm from New Orleans. The other dudes, the three main dudes are the band are from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised here, so I've basically lived here my whole life, other than like a year after Katrina. I was in Oakland, California.
Sure.
But not even a year even. Yeah, I love New I don't want to leave until I like retire from social life or whatever.
What do you think about going after socialize up?
Maybe like to the beach in the middle of nowhere in like Fort Myers, Florida, somewhere. You know, that would be my pick. I don't know if my partner Emily's gonna go for that or not, but maybe when we're like in our 80s or something.
That'd be dope though. So when Thou verse came together, what was the goal or spirit behind it? Like, were you trying to make a statement, or were you just trying to do something loud and fun?
Definitely not trying to make a statement. I mean, I joined the band in 07. They started the band probably towards the end of 04, I think, is when they kind of first started working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, from what I understand, they just wanted to do like a sort of heavier rock band. I mean, they were listening to Pelican and Caspian and stuff like that. So like I think they were sort of leaning in that direction. Like it's not quite an instrumental band, but like more or less. And then must have been 06, 05, 06 that they kind of took a turn. They must have I think they just discovered like drugs and sun and wanted to take it in a heavier direction.
Yeah, sure.
And they started tuning real low. You know, they wanted I can't remember what the current tuning is. It's like our highest tuning, but whatever that is, they tune the guitars low, and they would just sort of like jam out and stuff. And then that's sort of how they wrote Tyrant. And then I came on around 07. I kind of bullied my way in, and talked my way into the band, and yeah.
And you guys have been.
But yeah, there's no. I mean, even.
Go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. I mean, even for me, like in 07 when I joined, like the serious bands I'd been in had lasted, 2 years at best. So like my thought for Thou was it was going to be sort of the same thing. Like this was going to be, if I'm lucky, it would last like 2 or 3 years. So I just sort of took all the lessons I'd learned from my other failed bands and try to like cram them into Thou as quick as possible, before the thing imploded, but it just sort of never did.
Okay. So do you remember a point when it stopped being like a local thing and it started getting, you had a feeling like, well, people outside Louisiana are hearing this?
I mean, I think part of the reason why we were, we've enjoyed any degree of success as a Louisiana band is because we didn't really focus on being a local band. We just, like when I joined the band, basically, like I had tried to when I came back after Katrina, I used to put on shows in New Orleans and sometimes Baton Rouge. I've done shows for like 20 years. But like, I found Thou. I found Thou because I was looking for bands to put on like the hardcore shows, like the heavier stuff I was doing.
Sure.
And I liked it. When I listened to it, I liked it immediately. And I sort of was like, hey, let me join this band. Let me scream in this band because Matthew, who was like doing the vocals before me, was like more of a crooner. He's like more like kind of Dax Riggs, like kind of crooner.
Yeah, I got you.
He can actually hold a tune. Whereas like at the time, in my like mid to late 20s, I wasn't interested in that kind of vocal style. But so anyway, I had tried to talk my way into the band, and I was doing setting up a tour for Andy's other band, We Need to Talk. It's like a hardcore band.
Yeah, sure.
And they used that as sort of like my interest in being in the band and me setting up this tour and driving them on this tour. They're like, oh, well, let's try it out. But just so they could come on that tour, because they had never left Louisiana.
Sure.
And we did it. I sort of like tried out for the band and temporarily joined it, and it worked. And the tour was pretty good, by no fault of ours, but the tour is pretty good. And it's like immediately we sort of like momentum with it, where it was like, oh, let's try touring and stuff. Let's get out there and let's put out a demo or a record or blah blah blah. And so like we just skipped the whole like let's beat your head against the wall in Louisiana for 5 years while no one cares. We skipped that and just went straight to like touring. And the touring for us, like not to say that like our tours were like immediately wildly successful, but in terms of the tours I had done previous to Thou, they were wildly successful. Because I'd been touring at that point for like 7 years, my bands with friends' bands, and those were tours where like you pull up to the gas station, like, all right, body pitch in $20 because we got to pay for gas, and like Thou never we for whatever reason we sort of lucked out, and we always had even when we had some stinkers in a tour, we had enough good shows where we weren't coming out of pocket to go on tour, and so that was like a good motivation for us to just. It was easy to do it, in terms of, I was in my mid 20s and kind of thirsting for this kind of band, and these dudes were all in their early 20s, so everybody sort of like had enough youthful energy. We didn't need to make money. We could just go out and play those and have fun. And it was good and made it work. So. Yeah, I don't know. We never. So all I have to say, we never really worried about like. We never really were like the local. I mean, in Baton Rouge maybe because all the other dudes were from Baton Rouge. So like, and in a little bit in New Orleans, just because people kind of knew me from some other bands, knew me from doing shows, and didn't hold that again. But I don't know. We just did New Orleans, and we let New Orleans catch up to the rest of the world or whatever. I mean, it's just how New Orleans is. I mean, I can't speak too much about Baton Rouge, but definitely for New Orleans, it's just how it is. Like New Orleans is always like 3 to 5 years behind the times on like what's cool. Like a band that will draw a zillion people in like a big city might draw nobody here.
Oh, crazy.
And then 3 or 5 years later, they're big. But also with New Orleans, it's like there'll be random weird, random bands that just catch on immediately before the rest of the country, before the rest of the world. Yeah. So I don't know. New Orleans just doesn't care about the trend, or at least when I was doing shows. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but like at least for the 20 some odd years when I was doing shows, the people in New Orleans didn't. There was a certain level of like apathy that was a huge obstacle for doing shows, but was also kind of interesting in terms of the stuff that would sort of like rise and get get legitimized in New Orleans by New Orleans people. It's strange. It's a strange place for that kind of stuff. It's like a small town. Oh yeah, sure. Like I'm sure lots. Just everyone knows everyone. So that sort of circle you're in. So yeah. So yeah, and there's a lot of like transplants and stuff. There's a lot of people that come into New Orleans that like that aren't from here. So it's just a weird juxtaposition of like local people who are like very locally minded, and then like these sort of like out of town people who are searching for something that they're not finding in the rest of the country.
Right, right. I have a family that lives in New Orleans. My uncle and his partner, they run Louisiana Pizza Kitchen down in New Orleans, so I go there semi often. And I mean, I like New Orleans, but of course, I don't think I could live there personally. But after being in Kansas City, where everything's sort of slowed down, going to like places like Dallas, they kind of overwhelm me now. But so that sound has always been kind of huge but messy. It never feels polished. Is that how much of that comes from your philosophy versus just musical taste?
You're saying we have a polished sound?
I'm saying you
sound?
don't have a polished sound, but like when it comes to just being huge but kind of messy, because it's just some it sounds downright filthy in a great way. Like, is that something that you guys consciously do, or is that just in your taste? You know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, in terms of the kind of stuff we write, I mean, yeah, that's it's to taste. I mean, all of us come from like punk and metal-ish or metal type background.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all that stuff's gonna work its way in. I mean, I always sort of say that like the grunge stuff of the '90s, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam is like more is a bigger influence on us, I think, sonically than Crowbar or something. although Crowbar, I Hate God, or bands like that, like they definitely like yeah, we that stuff too, and it's definitely made wormed its way into like the way we write stuff. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of think of us as more like a punk grunge band that's sort of like just a slow down band. But there's also, I mean, like I'm a hardcore dude, so like I come from like the '90s hardcore stuff, and so we're trying to sort of hem that in. I mean, I don't know how much it affects things in terms of musically, but and then in terms of like the record sound, like James Whitten, that's been recording us like 90% of what we've released. Yeah, he's a big part of why like the records sound the way they do. Okay. We just been working with him for so long, and sort of like both of us sort of growing at the same time, and his ear for what we're trying to get to, sort of adjusting, growing, and him chances on changing things or like pushing certain directions in terms of the records. Like that's been a huge thing.
Yeah. So you're saying that was a punk band, which I love, by the way. What when you say punk, what does that mean to you?
I mean that we're not really that we're not concerned with like the the industry stuff or music business stuff. I don't really care. All that stuff is like a means to an ends for us. Just a way for us to like have fun or like do what we want to do with the music. But that we would never sort of like compromise on the art in order to like play a show or do a tour or a record out. I mean, we don't care about that. Like we could just, I mean, if we, if people stopped liking us, we could just put records out ourselves. Like if no one, we have dudes we know that screen the shirts and stuff for us. Like, it's like, I don't know, like if somebody asks us to play a local show, like 9 out of 10 times they come talk to me or they're texting me or something. Like I guess I just mean in like accessibility and in terms of like how we approach the art.
Yeah. I grew up listening to punk rock, so like that was just really interesting, like to hear that that was a punk band, which is, I love hearing that. I really do. So
well, I mean, even in terms of like just how we approach like writing the music, like we would never, like we don't really write to what we think is people want. Probably the opposite. That we're probably like working on stuff that we think maybe people don't want. That would be more challenging. But like whenever like the compass for where we're gonna go with the music or whatever is always like what the 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 of us find the most interesting at that moment, what we're sort of like digging into at that moment, what's like giving us the most pleasure, challenging for us in some way.
So yeah, as a vocalist, how much say do you have like a guitar tone and atmosphere, like the sound of the record? Like, do you go in there and you're like, I think this part needs to be cut or anything like that? Like, how is it when it comes to your role in that as a vocalist?
Well, now a lot more than it used to be. I mean, when I first joined the band, it was basically like, well, when I first joined the band, like Tyrant was like written and recorded. I came in and it was done. I basically just had to like listen to it and figure out what I wanted vocally. They didn't give me a ton of oversight. Maybe Andy would like make me change a few things or adjust a few things, but that was done. And then after probably the first few records, I mean the first little bit after that, even I mean maybe even Three Heathen. They would basically have a song, like we the way we generally write is like Andy would write a song, come to practice, here's the song, a few adjustments to the song, or hey, you play this, you play that, and that's how it is. Or Matthew would be the same thing. Or Andy would have a part of a song and Matthew would have part of a song, and because they're sort of like psychically linked, they would like magically work together and we build a song out of that. So that was like the first, I don't know, 6 or 7 years of me band. It was like they would bring a song and I would either already have something written and I'd say, all right, I'd have a bunch of stuff written. I'd say, all right, this song sounds like this to me. This is the feeling I get. Let me do that. Let me adjust this and move shit around, blah, blah, blah. Or they'd have the song, maybe they'd send me a rough recording of it or something, or I'd just listen to it a bunch of times at practice and I'd kind of come up with like, okay, what I'm getting out of this is what I want to write. And I would just write to whatever they brought. And then at some point, maybe Magus probably, there was maybe a shift where I and kind of the rest of the dudes too had sort of started having more of an opinion about changes. Let's not do this so many times. Let's adjust this, or this. Me, I'm not a musician, so like I don't they probably hate whenever I have suggestions because I would always say things like, oh, that riff needs to be sad. That riff do whatever, like I just, I don't know how to like really talk about this stuff. I mean, maybe a little bit more now, but so like now, maybe annoyingly so, everybody sort of has more of an opinion. It's a lot more of a collaborative process with the rest of us in terms of what people having opinions about stuff or wanting to make changes, and it certainly slowed down the writing process, but I think also like refined the writing process.
Sure.
I mean, even when certain things like Umbilical took us a really long time to write because we would write a song and then we change a bunch of things and change them again and change them again, change them again. And then sometimes eventually they would just change back to how we had it the first time. And we're like, yeah, actually that's the thing that works and blah, blah, blah. And so like stuff like that kind of took it. It's probably super annoying for Andy specifically because he was bringing the bulk of that material. But, that's just part of for me, the way I look at it, that's just part of the process. You kind of have to like go through that, try a bunch of things and see what doesn't work. And sometimes when you try things that don't work, it might something for another song or might be another song or spark off an idea for something else. So like the process to me of like the writing and all that stuff is like an important thing to go through, even if you ultimately maybe sometimes come back to your original idea or whatever. Right. You sort of have to go the whole route to like.
So when working with Emma Ruth Rundle and Mismore, did that help when it comes to going into Umbilical, writing that? Like, did it help you, like, I guess, sort of figure out how to, like you were saying, around Magus is sort of the process change. Was that part of that process, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Emma stuff was so far before that because I think we wrote the bulk of that record in 2016
Okay.
and then recorded it in 2017. We recorded not too long after we wrote it.
Okay.
And it just took a few years to get it out because of COVID, and then because of scheduling things, and then because of COVID, and then so it just got kind of postponed. But that was the Emma record was a little bit. I mean, if anything, umbilical maybe like antithesis, or like on the other end of the spectrum, antithesis, at least for me, from that Emma record.
Yeah.
The Liam record, maybe, but only because we were writing that stuff at like the same time. So like when we got back together after the lockdown, we finally decided to start writing again. We had a bunch of ideas for stuff. We wanted to write the new record. This thing with Liam, this collaboration with Liam kind of came up, and people got stoked about that. And we also were writing for our friend's video game soundtrack, Norco. And we wanted to write all new stuff for that Norco soundtrack.
Yeah.
So basically, we would go and we'd meet up like once or twice a month with all of us, all six of us at the time, and we just had a board in the room, just be like local, Norco, Mismer, and then we would write. Somebody would have a song. We'd bang out a song, rough out a song, basically.
Yeah.
And then we put it in one of the columns of where we thought it fit sonically. And then some of that stuff that we brought to Liam, at least a couple songs, I know he wasn't really into, and I think they just sort of made it back into one of the other columns. I mean, in terms of us, like if we something that we think is like good, once we write something and it gets to the point where we're going to record it, like we kind of know we want to use it for something. So usually that stuff is wanted to end up somewhere, but usually for us, like people ask us about, you have stuff that you recorded that isn't released, and it's like, no, because if we don't think it's good, we don't record it. I mean, it just gets scrapped, or it gets put off to be sort of like disassembled and reused parts for other ideas or whatever. But yeah, so the Mismer thing. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we were. I wouldn't say that the Mismer record influenced Umbilical, but we were writing all that stuff at sort of the same time.
Sure.
And we finished the record with Liam before Umbilical. I mean, honestly, like the stuff with Liam, maybe kind of the same thing. Like we, I mean, I guess the other people outside of that probably doesn't sound that much different, but like the Mismer record is like traditional Thou, just like straightforward, heavy doom stuff, like essentially like the peasant era, kind of no nonsense, like doom stuff. Like that's kind of where he went with it, and we just kind of leaned into it and like, all right, let's do that kind of record. Let's do like just a heavy record. And then with Umbilical, we wanted something that had like a little bit more like energy to it, a little bit more movement to it. It was a bit more like frenetic and we got there, but that was like the push. So whenever we'd have be writing songs after thing with Liam, whatever we took on, because we had already been writing songs before the thing and while we wrote the thing, and then kept writing after it. So the stuff that kind of came after, we were like, well, we already did stuff on the Mismer record. We don't want to get too deep in the weeds with the straight doom stuff. Then again, a couple of those Umbilical songs, like we wrote, were faster, and we were like, let's slow this down, like to where we would normally play it, and it kind of came together. One of the songs, in Siege Perilous on Umbilical, like we call it Siege Perilous, like our like practice space title for the longest time was Slowed Down Song, because originally it was like, twice as fast or something, like more of a like a rocker song, and we're like, oh, what does it sound like if we just slow this thing down to like dial, and it better. We did it.
So when you actually perform those
Does that
words,
answer your question?
yeah, it does. That's perfect. When you actually perform the lyrics or the vocals, I'll say, does it still feel like your voice, or do they belong to the, I guess, collective identity of Thou to you?
I am not a talented enough vocalist to have many voices. I am sort of a one-trick pony. Like, uh, probably people went back and listened to like the screamo band I was in, the screamo-ish band I was in before Thou. Like, it sounds like this. I mean, we got accused, that band Dear Diary got accused back then of being like having like black metal vocals or whatever. It's just that's just what I sound like. And I don't necessarily think I've gotten any better in terms of like dynamics in any way. I can maybe sustain my voice a little longer or whatever, or make it a little gnarlier, but like I basically always sound like, we tried stuff where I've kind of sung stuff and we had to mix it. It sounded terrible. Me and Andy did another band briefly when I was on like kind of a short touring break called Subservient Fuck, and that band's a little bit more like gruffer sounding, but yeah, by and large, I just sound like what I sound like, and that's it. So I don't know if I've I don't really. There's not really like a Thou sound. It's just what I sound like.
Sure. Anyways,
yeah, I mean, if anything, like the only stuff I've learned is like tricks in the studio for like layering vocals or doing different things, or like bringing somebody else in there with me to like kind of make it a little bit more balanced or change the dynamic a little bit. But I am woefully untalented.
I would disagree, but that's just me. So when you write lyrics, do you realize, like, are you going with an idea, or do you just write and afterwards it gains meaning to you as a piece?
All of it depends on the record. It depends on what I'm thinking about at the time. I mean, you like traditionally for us, like we have like for the full lengths, we sort of have thematically an idea of what the record is about. So usually I'm sticking with whatever that main theme is, and I'm writing about something like that. But it's like I always treat the LP sort of like in how they call like a scholarly essay, where like you have your thematic statement, and then you sort of have like supporting arguments for that thematic statement, and then you have a conclusion that ties it all together. Like that's how I've always sort of treated the full length records.
Right.
And then the other stuff is sort of like where I'm kind of, pushing or whatever. The way I write though is like, I might have an idea of what I want to write a song about, and then I kind of pull some pieces together and write about that, or just have a line of something and then I sort of like write around that line, and then figure out, as I'm writing, I kind of figure out what the thing's about. It's all over the place. I don't tend to limit myself in terms. I just kind of put out whatever, because for me, I can write a million drafts of stuff and then just like chip away at it and repurpose it or change stuff or move stuff around and So all of that stuff. I don't really have like a straight style. I mean, definitely it's it's easier and harder if you're like, for me at least, if you're trying to like write about a specific point or something.
Yeah.
The other thing too is like, like we'll have like we're not a band that like, for as much as we get pinned as sort of like a political band or whatever, like we're not a band that sort of like proselytizes a message.
Sure.
And mostly I'm writing about certain things, like I'm writing about like a personal experience with something or memory or thought about or a feeling about something, and I'm also not like that's not a band for me to sort of like get on a soapbox and like
Sure.
spread my message. Like that was a band for me to sort of explore how I feel or think about certain. A lot of times I'll read about a topic or something or an experience or whatever, and I'll try to explore it in a very extreme position, and then I'll write another song about it, exploring it in a very counter extreme position, and that's just me sort of like using the band and the art as a way to like figure out how I.
So when it comes to actually, like, we were talking about writing lyrics and not really espousing a message, I bring to mind In Bloom by Nirvana, that song about, people come to the shows and, they sing along or they really get into it, but they don't know what you're trying to say when it comes to lyrics. Is that something that you think about? Like, does it ever frustrate you? I guess does it ever frustrate you? Or does that ever frustrate you seeing people that maybe come in, like, just taking the work at face value and just that's what it is, you know what I mean? Like, I guess because yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, I don't have a lot of high hopes for people digging into our band as much as I would like them to. That's why I'm always shocked and pleasantly surprised when somebody digs anywhere beneath the surface of the band. I just think that a lot of people take most music at face value and don't want to. They're not very introspective, or they don't want to dissect it, or they don't want to. Even with their own sort of like deep interpretations of the thing, they just don't put a lot into it. It's just background for whatever thing they want to do. So. I'll say, yeah, I am. I do share that frustration of, you put something out there and people don't get it. But I mean, I can apply that to all sorts of things. Like I don't like the way people dance or not dance to Thou. I don't like the interpretation of us as like, sort of the sort of metal band I feel like we get, the sort of bands we sort of get lumped in with sometimes is discouraging.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be desired in terms of like the audience's interaction with the band. But I mean that's just how it is. Like I mean I don't know how I don't know. The other part of it too is like I don't know if we write like the kind of music we write. We are sort of in terms of wanting to get the response, whatever that response is we want, or that I want out of the music. Like this isn't the kind of music that appeals to those different crowds that would do or think about it in the way that I might want them to. So we're already sort of handicapped. I mean, that's not going to stop us from writing the kind of music we write. That's the kind of music we're interested in writing. So like, that's what we're going to do. And like, people can either come with us or not come with us. But like all this stuff, the thing about all this stuff is like, it's out of your control. So like, what are you going to do about it? Like, like, I could cry about it incessantly, but and I think I do, but I don't know if it's ever gonna like change the thing. You sort of like like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill, and then it just comes back down. Like you just got to keep doing it. I don't know. I mean, until you don't like doing it anymore, or until you're not getting what you want out of it. Until there's nothing. To me, it's like you do the thing until there's like nothing left in the thing that's worth doing, until it's like you've drained it of every drop you can get out of it. You do it, and then you move to the next thing.
Yeah, because I do know you talked a little bit, read up, and you talked a little about anarchist ideas, like that. And I'm not sure how many people come to the show knowing that. So how do you balance that? Like I said, the anarchist mindset, having to exist in a world and music industry that's kind of the opposite of that. You know what I mean? Like everything's so controlled there. And in not necessarily chaos, but like existing in that world? How do you not reconcile, but how do you balance that?
I mean, this is an extremely existential question, man. I don't know. I mean, these days I probably lean more into like, I hesitate to say this because the stuff's so like co-opted by shitheads, but like the Stoic stuff. The Ryan Holiday is like kind of like a modern essayist, I guess you'd call him, philosopher. Self-help, I guess, not really, but more towards like that thinking in terms of like you just sort of like have to focus on the things within your control and the things in the places where you can affect change. I mean, in terms of like anarchism, I think that is a sort of like in terms of like activism, that is the major mode of philosophy, is that you think, act locally. You know, you kind of focus on the communities in your immediate vicinity, and you just kind of build from there. And that's sort of the way the world can change. I don't know. Will things change in our lifetime? Not in my lifetime, probably. You know, will the audience of Thou ever make me happy? No, probably not. But I mean, you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You'll be sorry when I'm gone.
So, can we talk a little bit about Sisters in Christ? Is that right?
Sure.
So, where does the name come from?
The short story that I give tourists when I don't want to talk to them about it is that
Am I one of those people?
like New Orleans is like a very like New Orleans is like a very like Catholic city, you know, and like me and the guy that opened the shop went to Catholic school from like kindergarten through college, and so we wanted a name for the shop that was like that like reflected our city and New Orleans, you know, where we're from, where we are. That wasn't like Fleur-de-Lis and Bourbon Street and the Saints and Mardi Gras and blah blah blah. That's the short story. But the real story is that, and all that is kind of true, but the real story is at the time when we were opening the shop, I was working on a band with some friends of mine that eventually kind of fizzled. But it was a sort of like reverse crypto Christian band where like we weren't a religious band, but we were going to use a lot of religious imagery and like lyrically kind of make it seem like it was a religious band. And so I had pulled together all this stuff, all this material that I wanted to use for it in terms of like images. And that band like work out, and we were kind of tossing around, and we wanted something that didn't sound like a generic record shop, didn't even sound like a record shop, so that we could, you know, stuck out a little bit.
Yeah.
And so then we started, let's use all the stuff that I pulled together for this band. We could use it for flyers or t-shirts or whatever. And you know, I already have like the stockpile of stuff. I mean, it's the same for Thou. Like when I joined Thou, I had a stockpile from doing shows. I had a stockpile of like metal looking stuff that I pulled together. And so that's why the early Thou stuff looks like very kind of like metal looking, because it was all stuff I'd saved for like a metal thing. Well, same thing with the shop. I just sort of had all this like religious stuff, and yeah, me and Michael I think he came up with the idea for Sisters in Christ. We were going to do like something like, you know, we wanted to almost sound like a church, and then we went with Sisters because we wanted something that wasn't too like manly or like, too like you know, whatever. So we were like, oh, let's do something. And then we're just little shits. Like we were like, oh, we can take that and we can start, you know, we can play off of that in terms of like the stuff, you know, like we have like a tote bag that says God hates bags, you know, that's the tote bag. So like, we're like, oh, we can be kind of playful with this and funny with this in a way that like we'll sort of, you know, because we're both like kind of shit stirrers, so we're like, oh, this will scratch that itch of us being little turds. Sure. So yeah.
Cool. So when
I probably looking back, we probably should have picked something else, because there's another thing where I didn't think the thing would maybe last this long, and now I feel sort of like shackled to the name you constantly get the question, "You a church, you blah blah blah." It's like, no, we're just a record shop.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would maybe have like, I probably in like thinking long term, I probably should have come up with something better. What are you gonna do?
I love it personally. Has running the shop changed how you connect with music in the New Orleans scene? Like, I know you used to put on shows for, a long time there. So how does running the shop change how you connect with the New Orleans scene? Has it at all, really?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm probably way lamer than I should be, but maybe a little bit more personally happy.
Yeah.
Doing shows, I mean, especially doing shows in a place difficult to do shows for a variety of reasons. At least for me, like it. I don't want to say it makes me not like shows, but it changed the way I approach shows in general. Even just going to a show, like even if I just go to a show to see a band. I don't like just going and standing around watching a band. Like I want to bring flyers, or I want to bring a few boxes of records and set up and sell records, or this or that. Like I just having put on shows for so long, I just feel like you just have to make it. You got to get the most out of every show and be doing stuff and working every show. It's hard for me to just go and kind of watch a band and enjoy myself.
Right.
The shop, on the other hand, is like the shop basically scratches all the good itches, the stuff I want to get out of shows or used to get out of shows, minus all the bad stuff. Like I can, I come to the shop and I can stock it full of just music I like, and people come in here and we just BS about music we like, and I get the social part, and I get the sort of outreach part, and I get the sort of collector part, or like in the logistical putting the pieces together part. I get all the stuff I like, but nobody at the end of my shift, nobody's like beating on the door looking for money. Nobody needs a place to stay. I didn't have to drag anybody out the shop. I have to break up a fight or like pick up a bunch of fucking beer cans or whatever. I don't have to do any of that crap. You know what I mean? This shop's 10 minutes from my house. I don't have to drive all the way across town. I'm not dragging a PA in here. I'm not dealing with a so it's like, but the sort of drawback, I don't even want to say it's a drawback,
sure.
But the change in like my lifestyle is that I've become very I like my routine. I get up early in the morning. I do stuff at the house all day long till I come in the shop, and then I work the shop till 6, and at 6 o'clock my brain turns off. I go home and I eat, and I hang out and go to sleep and start over. So like I'm way less in to go to a show in New Orleans at 10 or 11 o'clock at night across town. You don't have to sit through 3 opening bands or whatever bands just to see the one band I want to see or whatever. Stuff like that. So like I'm just less likely to go to shows, and also because I'm not shows and I'm not really going to as many shows, I don't know about, in terms of like the New Orleans scene, what bands are happening. Just don't know as much what's going on unless somebody puts out a tape or a record and I'm trying to get it for the shop. I don't really know. There's all kinds of bands that have come and gone in the last 5-10 years that I just missed because I'm not out there as much. And when I was doing shows, I was like real tapped in because I was constantly looking for bands to put on shows and do stuff. So I mean, at one point I was doing shows like 5-6 days a week.
Jesus Christ.
Sometimes 2 shows at night. I mean, stupid shit. So it's like this is how I am with stuff. I'm just maniac. It's like, this is why I can't drink and do drugs, because I'm like a maniac. But so yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I probably know a lot. I'm a lot less like keyed into stuff than I used to be. And I probably, if I wasn't already like I'm in another band sort of game night once a week. So if I wasn't doing those things, I would probably push myself at least to get out a show every week, just to get out and sort of like check on things and see and just be a little bit more knowledgeable
So after so many releases and tours and collaborations, what still excites you or challenges you about making music with Thou?
I mean, I still look for. I mean, all the same. Maybe the lesser degrees are. I mean, I still love less writing with those dudes.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to see where we're gonna push it to next. The recording process has gotten more fun for me, at least. So I still like doing the recording stuff. It's fun. I like putting together the records. I mean, I'm the one like usually designs, does the layouts and stuff on the record. So I still love that. Writing the songs. I mean, I did at some point recently. I sort of had to like, especially in that period where we were writing all this. Right after COVID, we were writing so much stuff, and it was like. It was so much work. It was sort of feeling like a burden a little bit in terms of I gotta write another song. What am I gonna do for this? Blah blah blah. And then I had to like I had to reframe it in a bit for myself. Like, oh, this is a privilege. Like, I make art with people that I like, and it gives me it's like a means to express myself. Like, this is something I need to like cherish and take seriously and be enjoying and thinking of in a positive. Oh, here's another song where I get to like say this feeling I had. I get to like try to articulate or whatever. Like, and so that sort of changed a few things for me in terms of like the writing stuff. Just reframing it a little bit that way. The one thing for me that like I sort of don't like anymore, rarely like, is the playing shows part of it.
Yeah,
I hate.
Yeah,
and I was really hoping that like with this record, umbilical record, our response from the audience would maybe change a little bit, but not enough or in the ways that I wanted to make shows interesting enough for me.
Okay.
Right now, I fucking hate shows. I hate playing shows. I hate our audience is so boring. It bores me to tears most of the time. I hate it. It makes it so awkward. My girlfriend says I shouldn't complain about it. I'm a whiny little baby bitch when I about this stuff, but I can't stand it. It's painful sometimes.
Oh, so do you mean?
And it makes me question like why tour? Why?
Go ahead.
What'd you say?
I was just wondering, like, so.
No, I'm just saying it just makes.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so like, performing is not like cathartic for you in any way anymore?
No, it was never like that. I'm not. It's cathartic when there's an audience response and you can get out of your head and lose all sense of yourself.
Right.
If you're just a bunch of people who are staring at you, not moving around, like for me at least, like I don't get off on that. I'm not a performer. I'm not there to like be like a little, dancing monkey. Like I'm not there for that. Like I'm there for some kind of interaction. And if you can't help me get there, like it's a two-way street.
Right.
This is a problem with like, this is a case in point. This is a problem with like capitalism, late stage capitalism, where people think I paid my $10. Now get up there and put on a show for me. Like it's some like a transactional thing. Like if you want to talk about transactional, like it's going to cost you a little bit more than $10. You actually have to like move around and show me in some way the music is reaching you. Otherwise, like it's just painful for me personally. Yeah, I hate it. It's so awkward. It sucks.
People standing in there with their arms crossed, just
so
watching you.
Dude, I hate it. So that's the stuff I hate about it. But I mean, all the stuff that I like about it, I still like about it. And I don't know. I mean, even in these sort of like late days where I'm sort of like tying certain things off, like there's interesting ideas and stuff I have that are keeping me interested in the band. Okay. Yeah, but it's all the same stuff. I mean, there's nothing new. I mean, I don't care. Like we've played small shows, we played big shows, and like playing bigger shows or going on giant tours aren't really a thing that's that interesting. I don't know. I mean, just I mean, I don't know. I can't. It's hard to say like what is it that keep. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've just been doing it so long that like it's hard for me to think of not doing it, or
Yeah.
I feel like I still have things to say, or things I could say with it. But I think that for me, I'm a person where like that's probably always going to be the case. I'm always going to be able to find for myself at least another thing I could do with it, another thing that would like keep me interested with it.
Okay.
And I'm lucky that I'm in a band with a bunch. I'm lucky I'm in a band with a bunch of people who are like willing to experiment and push the boundaries of the thing we're doing in certain ways, and you know, musically or whatever.
Sure.
So very very lucky for that.
Okay. If you could play one Thou song for your younger self, the kid discovering punk and Nirvana, which one would it be, and why? That's a hard question too, but I had to ask it.
I don't know, man. I would maybe play one of the acoustic songs. Honestly, I would play because because even myself, even as like a 15 or 16-year-old, like I loved the all those unplugged records that like every one of those bands pretty much did. Like I loved all that stuff back then. So like maybe one of those acoustic things would be the thing to get me on board in the right way with Thou. In terms of like a heavier song, I don't know. I mean, the thing about Thou is like my and I think this is true of all of us. Our taste of like what songs we personally enjoy playing or whatever, which is usually the only time any of us hear Thou when we play the songs. All of our tastes are constantly changing and are all different, are all at odds with each other. If somebody's sick of a song, if somebody loves a song, it's guaranteed that somebody else in the band is sick of playing that song. So like that's just like the story of the band. But in terms of like newer stuff, Emotional Terrorist is probably like the top of my list, and older stuff, The Song of Limited Darkness is probably still one of my favorites that we've written.
Mine too. All right, man. I'm at the
stuff and any of the acoustic stuff on those two. That's a new one and an old one.
Okay.
2 for the price of 1.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna ask the big question, the one that's the name of the show. What are you jamming? It didn't have to be heavier. It could be pop.
What am I jamming? Yeah. Folk noise. Yeah, maybe. Dude, I brought some records so I could show them off. Let's see. I'm jamming Silver Godling.
Okay.
My partner Emily McWilliams's band. It's not. Let me apologize ahead of time, because when I talk about this stuff, like I know this is like a thing that a lot of musicians hate when you are talking about their record or whatever, and then you use other bands or records as like comparison. But like I'm not a musician. I'm like very ignorant and inarticulate and clumsy. So like I apologize. I know that's like an uncouth way of talking about things. You're dealing with like a dumbass from Metairie, so like this is what we got. This is what we deal with.
Oh no! I love honesty.
Yeah, so Silver Godling. Silver Godling. Not this record in particular. All of Emily's records are awesome, but she's got a new record she's been working on called "The Littlest Flower." That's like classical experimental oratorio. It's awesome. And it kind of like marries her sort of like dream pop electronic post Kate Bush, Tori Amos kind of piano stuff with like a more like classical approach. It's incredible. I cannot wait for her to put out this record. It's awesome. So that's probably number 1. And then I also have this Katie Greenwood record that's like a friend of ours that passed away, or sort of friend of ours that passed away kind of recently. She's sort of more well known as Thistle, I think was her Instagram thing. She's doing sort of like elaborate costume stuff. And I didn't even know she did music. I just knew her as the costume person. But then Tor Johnson put out this collection of all of her music stuff, and it is phenomenal. It's basically Like, to me, it sounds like the perfect marriage of the sort of like doomy folk, like real loose doomy folk ragana kind of stuff with the like real drony neo folk hand grenade job kind of stuff. Real spooky and like it's awesome. Yeah, it's incredible. It's basically what I always wanted Chelsea Wolfe to sound like, and where she sort of like kind of got away from that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's great. I'm also listening to this Martha Skye Murphy record, which is incredible. I think I saw this record because our friend shop in Berlin, Bizoff's Messer. It's a dude, Robert, that does Adagio records. Has a record shop, and our buddy Stefan used to do Vendetta record. I guess he still does Vendetta records. He used to do the record shop. He still does Vendetta, but it's Robert's shop now, Robert Norman. But yeah, so Martha Skye Murphy, the record's called and it's experimental. It's like I guess the easy points of reference are like a more like lo-fi experimental Portishead meets Kate Bush is what people are saying.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds more like the like later era like Beck, when Beck was getting kind of like the sort of like minimalist kind of folky stuff. It's kind of like in that wheelhouse, but more raw and way more experimental. Like it sounds like a lo-fi like Aldous Harding. I don't know if you know Aldous Harding, but her stuff's awesome too. But yes, well, it's awesome, really. And then this Nancy Manier record, I've listened to. It's awesome. She's believe she's Egyptian, and the record's kind of like I don't know this for a fact, but this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like she basically like sample like an old traditional Egyptian song. She sort of had that sampled like it was playing on an old record player in the background, and then overdub and layer all these melodies and droning parts and vocals and stuff on top of this thing playing in the background. It's awesome. Like super stoked about it.
Sounds dope.
So there's 4 of them for you.
Thanks, man. That's I got a lot of stuff to do.
Is that good? Is that enough? Do you need more?
No. Well, I mean, I have a quick question. I guess
that?
I have one quick question. This is kind of like
man.
So. When you first started getting, I guess, into punk, what was the band that exemplified? Like, did you have a favorite punk band that you sort of, to this day, you still jam? Like, that you still listen to, I don't know, once a week, once a month?
I still listen to all the stuff I've always listened to. Yeah, I mean, the way I got into punk, though, was like, like I said, I was into all the grunge stuff. And so basically, and then I would kind of like, go backwards from it. So like, I was like Rage Against the Machine, so that like got me to Inside Out. Yeah. And I love Inside Out. Yeah. And then Pearl Jam, you see Eddie Vedder wearing like Fugazi shirts. Yeah. And so I got from Fugazi to Minor Threat, and I loved the Minor Threats. I was deep into like Minor Threat, basically any of the Ian or Guy Discord stuff. I was deep, Minor Threat,
fucking love it.
Embrace, Rites of Spring, Fugazi.
Yeah,
all that stuff. So like that was like stuff that was like predominantly what my entry point into punk. And then when I was like 15 or 16, my friend got the Victory Style 1, the Victory Records sampler.
Yeah.
And that was like at that point it was game over. It's like Earth Crisis, Firestorm, Integrity, Dead Guy. That one good Strife song is on there. Snapcase. Yeah. So like every other track on there for us was just like, okay, that's it. And at that point, I'm this was like the mid '90s.
Yeah.
Like there weren't a lot of record shops. Especially for that kind of stuff, you would have to mail order records. So like, the big one we got was the Very Distribution catalog, and it's like a big ass thick catalog, you know, all the stuff you could mail order, and their descriptions were all that vegan straight edge death metal, blah blah blah, or sounds like Ursus. And so we would both go through the catalog and we would highlight stuff. You know, highlight like little researchers to figure out what we wanted to get.
Yeah.
And then whenever one of us had money, somebody, you know, we'd both put in an order. We'd split an order, and then we would just tape each other's CDs and stuff. So like that was just how we would just randomly get stuff because they said it sounds like Zao. So like, we gotta get this. Yeah. And so we just, you know, we grab all kinds of random stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
yeah. So
that was like, and I still listen. I mean, I love all that stuff.
Yeah. It was a weird time on the early 2000s when like a lot of the best hardcore shit was coming out a Christian, you know, like Zao. You know, you're like, yeah, Zao fucking kick ass. Still,
oh yeah,
yeah. So yeah, man.
Yeah, we just played with Zao. Like we played Zao like a month ago in New York. They're incredible.
Yeah.
And like I'm a old ass all this I do around our shows. Like I just do like this guy, you know, the not shows, and I'm like I can't complain about playing a couple of songs like from back in the day that I love, and I just ran up there and grabbed Daniels and just yelling in his ear like it's stupid, like, you know. But yeah, that band's sick. And it's funny. I did it for the shop, and I ended up taking it home. But there's another band called Sleeping by the Riverside, like a real obscure Christian hardcore band from probably 94, 96, something like that. And I was digging the record there, getting, you know, the usual like schlock stuff. And then I saw this record, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like all this other crap that's in here. I got to get this. Yeah. And then I look at the back and I saw it's on Take Hold Records, and I'm like, oh, I know Take Hold Records. Like, I definitely know that label. Yeah. It's Clearwater, Florida. That's a hardcore label. This is a hardcore record. So I got to get this. And so I grabbed that record with all the other or whatever, and and I was like, oh, this is like peak Christian hardcore, like mid to late 90s stuff. Love all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Zao, that first demo, 7-inch, fucking incredible. Training for Utopia, Living Sacrifice. Yeah. Loved it.
All right, man. Well, I really want to thank you for being on.
Under Oath before they were emo.
Oh yeah, Under Oath is pretty peak. That's some good shit. Also, I guess that first Norma Jean record is not too bad either. I like that first Norma Jean record, but before they were ludicrous, I guess. After they were.
Yeah, I did a show. I did a show with them when they were still ludicrous. They used to play it. And dropped off the show. I think they like weren't getting enough money or something. Went to a water park or didn't want to come to New Orleans. Ludacris, and there was some other big Christian band on that. I can't remember. I as much as I hate religion and all that shit, like, dude, those bands are incredible.
Fire, dude.
That Zao documentary is like there's like a 3.5 hour like DVD Zao documentary. It takes it from like the very first version of that band through like the 5th or 6th track or something ridiculous, and it's incredible.
I think it's wild to hear like Under Oath put out a record recently. I didn't really listen to it, but I do know that like they are now like not a Christian band decidedly. Like they went totally against that. Like same with Dave Bazan, who just quit Christianity for Page of the Line. But yeah, man, that stuff, the stuff they put out.
The Zao records, the whole Zao. And that new record they put out, the Crimson Door, is incredible. All the like the newest Zao stuff that's been coming out is awesome.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
Can't wait to check it out. Man, I really want to thank you for being on. This is a fucking great conversation.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Hey.
That was my conversation with Bryan Funck of Thou. Thoughtful, sharp, punk as hell, honestly way too grounded for someone making music. It sounds like the sky falling. Huge thanks to him for coming on and sharing all that. And hey, wondering what the track is creeping in? It's The Promise off Thou's newest record, Umbilical. Perfect outro vibes you're feeling emotional, feral, or both. Now it's your turn. What are you jamming? Hit me up. Dim me in me. Send me a voice note. Drop a playlist with way too much hype pop. I can take it. I want to know what you're obsessed with this week. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time. I guess, like, subscribe, tell your friends if you guys like this. Stay weird, stay hydrated, stay punk, or at least pretend. Catch you guys later.